The movie begins in an old farm shed, where an adorable snail named Turbo is captivated by a car race on TV. The thrilling competition sparks his interest in racing, and he sets up a miniature track in the shed to train daily, dreaming of winning a high-speed race. Turbo's elder brother, Chet, disapproves of his hobby and advises him to abandon the impossible dream, stating that snails are too slow for any sport. However, Turbo remains steadfast in his passion and continues to train diligently. One sunny afternoon, the snails and their friends head to a nearby garden to harvest ripe fruits. During this time, a tomato falls into an open field, and as a lawnmower approaches, the snails, except Turbo, choose to abandon it. Turbo, determined to pursue his racing dreams, goes after the tomato despite the danger. Unfortunately, he is too slow to reach it before the lawnmower approaches. In the nick of time, Chet turns on a water hose, saving Turbo from being crushed. Frustrated, Chet scolds Turbo for his recklessness and urges him to give up his irrational dreams. Feeling dejected, Turbo leaves the farm and wanders through the city to clear his mind. While on his journey, he ends up on a road pavement, watching speeding cars navigate through traffic. Suddenly, a trailer passes by, generating a strong gust of wind that sends Turbo onto a secluded road, where he finds himself in harm's way. After several mishaps, Turbo finds himself inside an unknown object, which turns out to be a sports car. Before he can comprehend what's happening, the car's engine starts, and the driver speeds off in a race. Overwhelmed by the car's speed, Turbo is sucked into the car's inner chambers and exposed to nitrous oxide, a powerful chemical that enhances speed. The nitrous oxide enters Turbo's body, charging his heart and pushing it into overdrive. Turbo manages to escape the car and is launched onto the streets, causing him to pass out. The next day, Turbo wakes up and eventually returns to the farm, reuniting with his brother Chet. However, their reunion is cut short as a crow suddenly appears and snatches Chet, flying away. Turbo chases after the bird with his newfound super speed, catching up to it and saving Chet from being eaten by the crow. Now equipped with incredible speed, the two snail brothers reunite and plan their way back home. Before they can start their journey, the duo is captured by a taco truck driver named Tito, who takes them to a shady store in a seemingly deserted location. Fearing the worst, Turbo and Chet prepare for the worst, but to their surprise, the place turns out to be a betting ring for snail racing. The two snails are placed on the starting line alongside other snails for the upcoming race. As the race begins, most of the snails inch their way slowly to the finish line, but Turbo, with his super speed, completes the race in a split second, astonishing everyone, including Tito. Impressed by Turbo's abilities, Tito decides to adopt him as a pet. The next day, Tito, whose business has been struggling, comes up with an idea to gain publicity using Turbo's super speed. He puts up a poster in his shopping plaza to promote snail racing. Unfortunately, the plan fails to attract more customers, leaving Tito disappointed. Seeing Tito upset, Turbo feels sorry for him. Shortly after, Turbo sees a bus advertisement for a national car racing tournament called The End is 500. Inspired, Turbo gets an idea to use his super speed to get Tito's attention on the race. Tito understands Turbo's plan and decides to enter him into the tournament to generate more publicity for his business. However, the registration fee of $20,000 proves to be a significant obstacle for the small business owner. Believing in Turbo's abilities, Tito approaches his brother and business co-owner, Angelo, to propose the idea of sponsoring Turbo with their life savings. He is hopeful that it will generate massive publicity for their business, but Angelo is skeptical and rejects the plan outright, disappointing Tito. Despite the initial rejection, Tito remains determined and seeks financial support from other business owners in the plaza to fund Turbo's entry into the racing tournament. The next day, Tito puts together a detailed business presentation and pitches his idea to his fellow entrepreneurs. However, like Angelo, another store owner ignores the idea and refuses to invest in what they see as an outlandish plan. Meanwhile, the snails who raced against Turbo on his first day learn about the Indy 500 plan and decide to help send him there. They unite their efforts and successfully divert a bus full of people to the once deserted plaza. When the bus arrives, Turbo uses his super speed to create a mesmerizing light show on Tito's poster, capturing the passengers' attention. Intrigued by the billboard, the visitors decide to stay and watch Turbo race, leading them to patronize the plaza's stores. The influx of customers generates the largest traffic the business owners have seen in years. As a result, the initially skeptical entrepreneurs have a change of heart and contribute the funds Turbo needs to enter the race. Accompanied by the snails and store owners, Tito and Turbo head to the Indy 500 to sign up for the race. However, the race organizers find Tito's application to register a SNAIL ridiculous and reject it outright. Undeterred, Turbo remains determined and, with the help of his SNAIL friends, manages to bypass security and get on the track. The speedy SNAIL impressively circles the track within seconds, leaving the spectators in awe. Among the spectators is a young boy who records Turbo's lightning-fast run and posts the video on the internet. The clip quickly becomes a global sensation, astounding people with the SNAIL's extraordinary speed. In response to the viral video, the chief owner of the Indy 500 organizes an emergency press conference and reluctantly allows Turbo to race, swayed by the fascination and interest of the public. The following day, the highly anticipated Indy 500 race commences, attracting thousands of fans who flock to the stadium to witness the revered competition. The racers, including Gagne, the fan favorite and defending champion, take their positions at the starting line amid cheers from the crowd. Turbo also arrives at the scene, and his friends wish him good luck before the race begins. As the race officially starts, all the contestants fire up their engines and take off at top speed. Turbo, who has never been in an official competition before, feels nervous and anxiously watches the spectators. Initially, this pressure causes him to slow down, but he gathers his courage and eventually accelerates, completing the first of the tournament's 200 laps. In the first few laps, Turbo glides smoothly across the track, but soon faces challenges as the racing cars close in on him. Being small in size, Turbo struggles to find a safe space as he dodges the racing cars to avoid being crushed by their tires. The constant maneuvering causes him to fall behind, and he takes a break on the 30th lap. Turbo's SNAIL friends rush to his aid, providing a quick fix-up and a motivational pep talk. Feeling refreshed and encouraged, Turbo re-enters the race with new vigor. This time, instead of being intimidated by the cars, he cleverly uses his small size to his advantage. Turbo overtakes the speeding vehicles by going underneath them and skillfully slides along the sidewalls to bypass drivers at the track edges. With this technique, he quickly overtakes numerous other racers and makes his way into the top 10, thrilling the pumped crowd who cheers him on. After several minutes of intense racing, Turbo manages to secure the second-place position and desperately attempts to overtake Gagne for the lead spot. Sadly, the narcissistic champion, Gagne, resorts to a shady move during the race, pushing Turbo into a sharp turn filled with marbles. The SNAIL crashes into a wall, breaking its shell and sustaining serious injuries. Struggling to make it back to the race station, Turbo meets Tito and his friends, who are deeply worried about his well-being. Tito contemplates pulling Turbo out of the competition due to the injuries, but the determined SNAIL refuses to give up and speeds off to re-enter the race. Filled with conviction, Turbo accelerates at an unprecedented speed, reclaiming his former position of second place. He goes head-to-head with Gagne, who once again tries to take Turbo out by pushing him into a corner. However, Turbo, with his experience, predicts the move and outmaneuvers the shady racer, gliding through the track's walls and overtaking the champion. Entering the last lap, Turbo blasts off at top speed, maintaining his lead while Gagne desperately tries to catch up. In a desperate attempt to overtake Turbo, Gagne makes an extremely risky move at a track corner, but it backfires as the marbles on the edges puncture his tires, causing him to crash and take out all the other racers. Turbo is also severely injured in the crash, leaving a massive hole in his shell, which leads to a loss of his superpowers. Devastated by the accident and with only a few meters left in the race, Turbo loses all hope and retreats into his shell, hiding silently. The spectators watch in disappointment as Turbo's incredible journey seems to come to an unfortunate end. Witnessing Turbo's despair, Chet and the other SNAILs rally around him and deliver an inspiring speech that uplifts his spirits. Regaining his confidence, Turbo decides to return to the race and slowly crawls his way toward the finish line. The crowd applauds his determination and resilience. As the injured SNAIL approaches the finish line, Gagne recovers his car and begins dragging it along the track, inching closer to the end point. With only a few inches left, both racers give it their all, pushing through the pain. But Gagne, in a shady move, attempts to stomp on Turbo to stop him. Thankfully, Turbo withdraws into his shell at the last second and rolls forward, narrowly escaping Gagne's attack. He crosses the finish line, and the crowd erupts in applause as the race officials declare Turbo the winner. Following the race, a celebration event is organized, and Turbo is officially crowned the Indy 500 champion. He and his friends celebrate their victory, and in the following weeks, the shopping plaza becomes bustling with customers, just as predicted. The movie ends with Turbo and the rest of the Snails organizing one last race. Together, they blast toward the finish line, reveling in the joy of their newfound camaraderie and success. Turbo's inspiring journey from an ordinary snail to an Indy 500 champion leaves a lasting impact on everyone involved, proving that with determination, courage, and the support of friends, anything is possible. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more interesting movies.